You better get
Hello, and welcome once again to Life That Matters.
Your life matters.
Your life matters. My name is Dr. Sharon Norris Elliott,
And I'm Lady Laura Simon.
and I'm so glad. Last show was the return of Lady Laura Simon, and
I'm so glad to be
I
back.
missed her so much. I did all
I
those
missed
different
you
shows
too.
without her here and everything,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Where's
Yeah.
Laura?
Yeah. And I was saying, I'm coming back.
She's coming back," and she did. Yeah.
Happy to be back.
Yes. So we are talking about you
You
getting up and doing it.
and doing it.
All right. What has God called you to do? And why aren't you doing it?
Ooh. And why aren't you doing it?
Yeah. Some people get stuck with money issues. Now, one thing that my pastor says that if God guides, he provides.
Now, I am a witness that if he guides, he provides.
Okay. So, yes, you may be waiting for some kind of financial something
Right.
to break through. However, there's still things you can do.
Right.
Like when we talk about the beginning of this station, of this network, right? Our founder, right, started out with a little teeny red camera.
See?
And God had told him to start a network. He was like, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about a net. Well,
Yeah.
let's
But
see.
if
What
he
I do
told
know,
you,
what I do know is this camera takes video. So, okay, you know,
that's the way to start.
being faithful
Being faithful
with a little,
with a little.
and then you can grow. We talked about Joshua.
Yes.
That's the passage, Joshua 1, like 1 through 9, is the passage that we're kind of jumping off of.
Yeah.
With Joshua being called to now lead
Right.
the children of Israel into the promised land.
Right. Because God's servant Moses was
dead. Right? And God had provided the land, everything. Now all you got to do is go.
All you got to do is walk across.
So that's where you are. That's where we all are when we hear God's voice, when we hear, we're supposed to do something. We're on the brink of walking into the promised land.
On the brink.
Right.
Walking.
Our promised land. And all we have to do is put one foot in front of the other.
Get up.
Right. Get up.
Get up.
Nobody's saying you're going to be at the end.
There you go.
You're at the beginning, so you ought to be. Right? So we said we were going to start. Last time I talked about how I got started.
Right.
Right? As a writer.
As a writer.
I was just studying the word. That was really the bottom line.
Right. You were just studying the
I
word.
was studying the word for
and
myself.
you liked studying and you liked writing about it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I liked writing it all out so that I could understand it.
Like the prayer.
Yeah.
I know I'm not segueing, but like the prayer. I still say that's an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
all
prayer
right.
box.
Yeah.
If you have to go back some months and months to see that, maybe we'll pull that back up one of these days. But point being, I just started where I was.
Right. Just start where you are.
Right. And then God, through somebody else, said that would make a good book. Really?
And then he opens the doors.
Yeah.
He opens the finances. He is faithful and he will provide.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely. So you started out before this book. She writes for him, Black Voices of Wisdom. So tell us how it is that this came into being, this book.
This one came into being because I started one like yours, like this one, just a little book in 2009 at a pastor's wives conference. All my stuff burnt up that I was going to sell, and I had to write a book. That's how that came into being.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called the First Lady's Secret Handbook.
Okay.
Because I had to write that. Okay, so.
All right.
And I told them, the publisher, Redemption Press, about, I was in a conference with them, just trying to see if I wanted to write, because I had a platform that I was just getting started. And in this, what was so good about this, I was the only Black woman or African American woman in a conference of 33 women.
Okay.
And this book came about because during the pandemic, with that issue with George Floyd, not that issue, but that brouhaha situation that came up with George Floyd, I was the only Black woman in the conference. And so Cynthia Kavanaugh asked me how I was feeling about the situation.
Okay.
That's the beginning.
Okay.
And just like God, I did not even want to come on for the session that day. And my husband and God told me that I was going to get on. And when I did that.
When you said on for the session, I'm not.
The sessions, because it was the pandemic, everything was on Zoom at that time.
Gotcha.
Okay? So it was a Zoom, and I wasn't going to go on that day.
Okay.
And also, what started or triggered it was one of the ladies in my group. We had things on my son, on Black Lives Matter, and they just wanted us to put "My Son Matters."
Gotcha.
Right? That's it. And when I did that, two of the ladies in the group said something.
Okay.
And I didn't respond.
Okay, so this book is
Black Voices of Wisdom.
Black Voices of Wisdom. And it is a compilation.
It's a compilation, but it's stories about the things that I went through, and then they decided, well, let's see what else. Because the one statement, they really didn't have an understanding. And they were able, I told them, ask me what you want. If we are Christian sisters, we believe Jesus, then what do you want to know?
Right. Ask me what you want to know.
Ask me what you want to know.
Right. So from my point of view, from your point of view as a Black woman, going through this time period, right, other cultures, don't know.
They didn't know.
Right.
So when she asked me, the light bulb went off, and all 33 of the women were like, oh. And then when you start going through, this is the neighborhood I live in. My boys are pulled over. This is why I even said it. And then the girl who said, well, my sons matter too. And I said, no, that's not what we meant. If my house is on fire, the fire truck is coming to my house.
Right.
Your house is important too.
Yeah, but your house is not on fire.
Yeah, my house is on fire.
Exactly.
And we talked about we don't see color, which is the other reason the book came about, because when they said we don't see color, I said, no, let's talk about that. There's 33 of us, 36 total with the facilitators, and I see color because you only see me, and I am brown. So no, don't say that. When you go to the floral shop, you see white chrysanthemums, blue chrysanthemums. They may be dyed, but they're all different colors. And I have a favorite. I love blue roses. It's a color.
It is the color.
You do see it.
You do.
And they were like,
and to say I don't see color means you see color.
Yeah.
So
with that, they wanted to do something where they could talk about it.
Good. So there are a number of, I don't know how many.
There's 23 stories, so 21 women, because one woman wrote twice.
Okay. But different stories about, just from the Black perspective. Life. Right.
Right.
And there's somebody, Sharon Norris Elliott, is even in the book. Too.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So
you are, and you were my agent then.
Was I?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so this initiated Laura into writing, and then she wrote. Did she say that out loud?
Yep.
Which is her first book, A Pastor's Wife, right? The Life of a Pastor's Wife. And this book is funny, but it is heart-tugging.
Yeah.
It makes you think.
Makes you think.
Even if you're not a pastor's wife, right? You want to know what your pastor's wife goes through, what women in general go through. A lot of this applies to a little bit of everybody.
Right.
And how to respond when somebody says the things they say.
Right.
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 To you. So, what ideas do you have? We're speaking specifically now for writers, but think about you. If you're not a writer, God has a purpose
for you.
Right. And stepping into the purpose may take several different kinds of steps. Let's just say
several.
For Laura, she started with a short, article, actually. A selection. They call it a selection in the book. It's an article if it's in a magazine. Well, that's one of the first things I started doing as well, is writing magazine articles.
Right.
Magazine articles are a lot easier to get published than a whole book.
Right.
And they are read by thousands more people.
Right. Than books.
Than books. So and what makes it good as you are thinking, let's say you're thinking of writing a book, the chapters in your book can become articles.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And so even as you're writing your book, you could be submitting some of this information to a magazine.
Right.
And if they publish it, you've just proven that you can write publishable work.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yes.
And you might get paid.
Exactly. That part right there.
For the article. All right. So I did small pieces along the way as well. This is one of the books that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that has 7 of my pieces in it. It's called Bible Seeds. This company, Starburst Publishers, was putting out collection books.
Yeah.
And I got on the mailing list, right, to be asked to say, oh, this is happening. Do you have anything? Sure.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because all of this book needed to be filled.
Right.
So you need to think that way. Whoever has to do blog posts, sometimes you could do a guest blog post.
Yes, blog posts. Yes.
You could do, there's not as many magazines because paper is just so expensive.
Right. But they are doing digital, Arise.
Yep. Global Fire, that's with HSBN.
Digital. Yeah.
So you can write articles.
Right.
And start getting your clips list.
There you go.
That's a list of all the different, articles and things that you have written, and that's going to look good on your book proposal when you're ready to send that.
Yes.
To a publisher. This was 19 something. No, this was 2001. Okay. And then most of you have heard of Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
Anyone can write for Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
And you can just write to Chicken Soup for the Soul Publishing now. You can write to them and ask for a list of upcoming books.
Yeah.
And they'll just send it to you.
Yeah. They'll just send it to you.
Just send it to you. And then you can write, I have a book in here. A selection in this one, Divorce and Recovery. All right, 101 stories about surviving and thriving after divorce.
That's good.
All right, they do them on everything. They got pet ones. They've got Chicken Soup for the pet lover soul. Just everything.
They do.
Right?
They do.
And so, but my first book.
Yeah, your first book
was for middle school kids. And it was on Dr. King. And this company was doing, with Scandinavia Publishing House.
Oh.
How did I meet them? I'm going to give you one guess. Conference. I actually met the wife of the man who was part of Scandinavian Publishing House.
Okay.
Right. She was a magazine editor with a big magazine that was out at the time.
At the time. Okay.
Today's Christian Woman. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember. I have lots of articles out of that.
Right.
For Bible study.
Yes. And
wow.
so they, anyway, long story short, he was doing a book series on Christian heroes. He wanted a Black person to write Dr. King's book. I got the assignment and wrote it, but then, of course, it came out.
That's another language.
In Norwegian. So I can say my first published book, I can't read. But the good thing was,
I was wondering, I read the back, when you opened it up, I read the back page and I said, that's another language.
As a series, this never came to the United States in English, but they put together a collection of all the books of the 10 heroes, and this is in English.
That's amazing.
And so I got
his pictures and everything. Okay.
Yeah. So I got to have, my book is one in this collection.
So it's like a compilation as well.
Compilation.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
That's a wonderful way to get started.
Yeah. And this was, now we're teaching you all kinds of things about writing today.
Yeah, yeah.
This was a work for hire. So what that means is you didn't come up with this idea. The company came up with the idea and then hired me to write it.
Right.
Okay, so generally you get one paycheck for that. You don't get a bunch of royalties,
right?
Because it wasn't your idea. You were hired by the company to write for them.
Right.
It still had my name on it and everything. Okay. All right. So we've gone from there to, again, I taught school, so I was writing for kids. This was for teenagers. Turns out, what teenagers in the Bible? Because I taught in Christian schools. I wanted my teenagers to know that the Bible was for them.
As well.
So I wrote about the teenagers that are in the Bible. I said, hey, you guys are in the Bible. What?
Because David was a teenager.
Yes. Mary was a teenager. All these folks, right?
Were teenagers.
Jacob. Miriam.
Oh, good old Jacob.
Miriam, the prodigal son. Okay. Isaac. All these folks. And so this book is still in print.
Okay.
Right? And this was a long time.
Yeah, because your hair is long.
Yeah, this book was 2003.
Ooh.
Right? So moving from my own, like 1995, this was 1995, right? To these 2000s, to a book of my own, right? That have brought us up to still the 7-book series on the kids, and then the latest.
Didn't see that
parenting, right? There's 17 altogether.
Yes, she
and
is
that's
making
not
it
counting
happen.
These
not counting the compilation books.
The compilation.
Yeah.
Okay, so all I did was what they told me to do at conferences. And I did it that way. And until it stopped working, and obviously so far, it hasn't stopped working.
Hasn't stopped working.
Hasn't stopped working.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're called to do? Right. Now, how do you get into writing, Laura? How do you get into this business?
How do you get into the business? Well, for me, speaking for me, I took a class. Yours. Took a class. And in the class, it was very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very specific. You taught us about how to put together storyboarding, how to come up with titles. My title she came up with.
Which mostly the publishers come up with.
Yes.
It's just,
yeah.
Right.
And so the writing part, literally listening to you and watching you, even though I was a journalism major, still learning to write like this I have never seen, I'm not telling all your secrets, but I'm just like, the pasties
Not pasties.
on the wall. She's very specific.
Sticky notes.
Sticky notes. She's very specific. And, I remember putting some other thoughts from other books, and I put them, on the wall thinking that I was really doing something. And she just came by and said, "This is another book." Okay.
I didn't say it like that.
Yes, she
Don't
did.
believe that.
Yes, she did. she she told all of us as we were giving our spiel, yeah, no, that's not
Yeah, no.
for this. All right, come back to me. So I learned how to write a proposal. Because you have to have a proposal.
You do. A proposal
You have to
is
have
like
proposal.
a resume for
Yes.
your book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she will make sure that you get that right, and you will do it again and again until you get it right. All the things. She has a formula, as I'm telling on her. There is a formula that you have to do. Now, if you have a purpose, God will give it all to you, and it will be in the proposal. Because when it was all done, it made sense. It was amazing. So everything that you want to write about.
Now,
And you have to, but you have to say this too, and you have to do some research. Doing a book is work. That was last show. You have to do some work. And when you put it all together, she's gonna make sure as the agent that it's all together.
well, that's the editor's
and it makes
side.
sense.
Well,
That's the editor's
now,
side of
to
you.
get into the business, that doesn't mean you all have to come through me.
No.
There are lots of people out there
There are
teaching
lots
you
of people.
how to put a book together. The point is, find somebody
Find someone.
who can help you.
I recommend her.
Which, thank you.
Yes.
Now, and
Very specific and very thorough.
the way these folks talk about me, the way my clients talk about me, you would
I love
think,
her, but she's very specific. She's very specific, and she's going to check you.
And all I have to say is they are published.
I am published. So I cannot say anything.
Therefore,
but you're going to work. Whatever God gives you, she's going to hone it. That's all I'm going to say.
the point is,
we
all believe
are published.
that we ought to be excellent
Yes.
in the work that we do for the Lord.
And she's going to tell you about being excellent for the Lord.
So that is all.
You know what, I'm laughing because I was crying a couple of nights.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, I was.
But she kept coming back.
Take it out.
And like I said,
It's published.
and she and her husband are
Tony
ready
Simon.
to write the next book.
Yeah,
So
together.
it must not have been that bad. If they're coming back, they're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
But you know what? You just want it right. You want it right,
and you want it right.
excellent, and you want it right.
Right.
And she's gonna talk about the pages and the.
and it's not going. It's not going to earn you a publishing contract
Right. Yeah.
unless
It's right.
you have done
The work.
your best. And I work mainly, almost 100%, in the Christian industry.
Right.
Right. There's just one book so far that's not quote unquote a Christian book, but they're Christian people.
Right.
Who are publishing,
Right.
publishing the book. And I mean, I can help you if you have a book about plumbing, as far as knowing how to put a book together.
She can help you with publishing.
And that's the idea. So
and writing a book and getting a book out.
Right.
I would recommend you. I recommend you as an agent.
Thank you.
I recommend her as an agent.
Thank you. Authorize me.
Authorize me. .net
is the site for the writing. Okay. But we want you to not only be thinking about writing, maybe you are supposed to open a little boutique, okay, for young girls.
Right.
Or something. I'm just
Yeah, you're putting it out
pulling these
there.
up, right?
We're saying
Maybe-
get up and do it.
Right. Maybe you are supposed to start a restaurant.
Maybe.
Everybody knows we could use great new restaurants.
Yes.
We love to eat.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Whatever it is that God has given you as a vision,
Yes.
if you do nothing with it, all that was a dream.
That's all it was.
You know, it's like a nice thing to think about every now and then.
Yeah.
Right? But you have purpose.
You have purpose.
Your life matters.
That's good.
And God has put you here to do the thing that no one else
Can do.
can do. Even when it comes to writing, I can't write this book. Laura can write this book, right? I didn't have the idea for this book. Laura had the idea for this book, right? And so that is all that we're trying to say, right? Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Be strong and be courageous.
Yes, just like Joshua.
God will never leave you.
He will never, and when he guides, he will provide.
Amen.
All right. So you know how to get in touch with us.
Yes.
Here at Life That Matters. You know how to get in touch with me at authorizeme.net.
Yes.
You know how to get in touch with the Lord.
Yes.
That's this word right here.
Right.
My name is Dr. Sharon Norris Elliott.
And I'm Lady Laura Simon.
And it has been a pleasure kind of kicking you.
Yeah.
You know, but knowing, and please write to us. And let us know what you have gotten going.
Yes, what you've gotten up and what you've done.
There you go.